All right, so kind of it was a shorter meeting this week. Sort of a
End of the year.
End of the year wasn't a whole lot of super serious items on the agenda.
Right.
One thing I did want to ask you about was the tree board appointments that were made. I was hoping you could kind of go into those a little bit, sort of expand on
Sure.
what the tree board is, what they do, and some of the appointments you suggested tonight.
Well, the Taylorville Tree Board is something we've had for a couple of years. Actually, Taylorville's been a tree city, I think, for 27 years now. But it's hard to find people to voluntarily come up on any kind of board. And the tree board's been tough itself because they don't have a budget. They go out there and they put a lot of work in. They study a tree, and then if it happens to be in the way of a project the city has, you'll hear my superintendents complain, why do we have to put up with this tree board's recommendations? The tree's in my way, I just want to knock it down and move on. But Taylorville is a tree city. The trees beautify our city. Again, we're trying to improve the appearance of our city, and the trees help do that. So it's an important position, I think. It's an important board that we need to have. Everyone driving around town, they can see right now that we've got power lines going through trees, and they're butchered up, and they just look terrible. And that's because there was no long-term planning 60 years ago. We don't want to make the same mistake. That's one thing the tree board will help us with is when we replant in those areas, we'll plant trees that don't grow that high, that don't get into the power lines, and so that's one of the many roles they play. So it's a board that's hard to find the members for, and when we do get them, we need to support them because they do an important job.
Yeah, and that was an issue that was brought up tonight. Is that they've been working with no budget or
Exactly.
It's just kind of been a rough go for them.
It has been again. So we've got to give them a little more direction. They've all worked very hard with us, and again, they haven't got the support they probably should have had in the past, and so we're going to try and change that a little bit and work with them a little bit more this time.
Okay, kind of changing gears, there was a couple of motions that were passed that increased the maximum allowable rate for a couple of villages in terms of the water. I was hoping you could kind of expand on that a little bit and how it will affect the citizens both there and in Taylorville.
Well, what we did today is the village of Owaneco is when we went ahead and raised it on. All these small towns that we serve water to right now, what we'd like to do, our long-term goal is to get them all at the same rate. Different ones have different contracts. For example, the city of Kincaid, they've got a current contract that doesn't run out for 2 years. So we can't change theirs any more than 10% a year. Our goal, again, is within the next 2 or 3 years is to have all the cities outside paying the same rate, so it doesn't get confusing that way. And they'll all be the same kind of contracts with each other, and it'll be apples to apples comparisons that way. So that's what our goal is. And tonight we took another step that way. The city of Owaneco, we've had some long-term discussions with them. At one time, they believed we had a 60-year contract with them. We found out through our attorney later on that was illegal. You could not have a 60-year contract. And so there's different opinions on whether that's enforced or not enforced. The city's taken the view that it's no longer enforced since it wasn't legal in the first place. But again, as we do these increases, there's a lot of different carriers outside of Taylorville, rural areas that can service them water. They can't give them the same quality of water. They can't give them the same pressure, but they might be able to undercut us in price. And so it's something we're going to have to study going forward and find out, we want to give these small towns the same water quality we have, the ability to fight fires, but we got to do it in a way where we can't outprice them so much that they go elsewhere looking for their water service.
So it's kind of a balancing act.
It is a balancing act.
All right, I had another question here. There was a motion to implement the utility billing online systems agreement. I was a little confused as far as what that was and what it was going to do.
That basically is going to give us the ability to pay water bills online. We'd like to go more and more with that as we get the software in place to do that, to allow people the option to make that payment. As technology changes, more and more people are paying bills online. It saves on the paper cost, and it makes tracking much easier for us. But we all don't make that step at the same time. So we want to put it out there as an option for some people, find out what kind of response we get. And I think moving forward, 10 years in the future, everyone will probably be paying online. But we're taking one step at a time, and this is kind of the first step for the city.
I think the Taylorville water bill is the only bill I have that I don't pay online.
There you go. There you go.
And then finally, to wrap things up, you had you addressed potential candidates for city office in your mayor updates.
Sure.
And you had a good question that I thought was, I thought that was a really good question for potential candidates to ask. I was wondering if you could re-go through that question again.
Well, again, I just wanted them all to ask themselves why they're really running, and if their answer is anything different than I'm doing this to improve the city of Taylorville, then they're probably running for the wrong reasons. Again, that should be the sole goal of anyone running for a public office. It shouldn't be about the salary. It shouldn't be to get even with somebody if they were wronged in the past or something like that. Those aren't legitimate reasons for it, and that doesn't help, the taxpayers or the city. And so I'm hoping that all the candidates are doing it for the right reason. It's an honor to serve in this position. Any of the positions, whether it be alderman, mayor, city clerk, city treasurer, whatever it is, it's an honor to serve, and they should recognize that. And they should be willing to sacrifice and put the city first. And that's what I was trying to stress with them tonight. I think that's extremely important, and I hope they all, as they campaign, I hope they take that thought very seriously and are serious about the job they may be elected to do.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.